Can any of you respond and say you're convinced he's a franchise quarterback, Gabriel? Can you say that? I don't think, in fairness, you can. And I, for one, want to see Sanders before this season is over to know whether we got to make a deal or trade up to get the best possible quarterback that's going to be available in the draft next year. So, to answer your question, I think we're getting close with Gabriel to get Sanders in there, and let's see what we got with the kid from Colorado.
What if I told you the Browns quarterback room just turned into a full-blown reality show, with Bruce Drennan losing his mind on live TV? He's done pretending Dillon Gabriel is the guy and is now calling for Shedeur Sanders like he's the football savior Cleveland didn't know it needed. Grab your popcorn, this meltdown might actually make sense.
I think that can help inject some life into the team as well now that has passed, and this is the team going forward, and they can all focus.
Yeah, I understand the question, Daryl. I don't know how much guys spend time thinking about those type of things. I know it's speculative, and I know there's plenty of news outlets that cover those type of things, and that's what you have to do. But our guys don't spend much time on that. We kind of keep our focus where it is, and so that's the sense I've gotten from the guys.
Cleveland's airwaves haven't been this fiery since Bruce Drennan's last on-air meltdown, so basically last week. But this time, it's different. This isn't your typical fire the coach rant or bench the quarterback outburst.
If you look statistically at Sanders' career with his dad at Colorado, a vast majority of the majority of his yardage was picked up on safe screen passes, plus getting the ball into Hunter's hands. You get the ball into this guy's hands and he can take it all the way. So that's a tough one, but I would say Sanders.
This is full nuclear. Bruce isn't just mad, he's spiritually offended. His veins popped like he discovered his fantasy team started a kicker instead of a quarterback. He's officially done with Dillon Gabriel.
Shouldn't Shedeur start over Dillon Gabriel? Shouldn't he get the start first?
Oh, I don't think so at all.
Well, here's my thinking. They want to see what Shedeur Sanders is. He's a throw-in. He's an asset. Dillon Gabriel's going to be here as their backup quarterback in your mind for the next 4 or 5 years. Yep. No rush in getting him in there. Let's see what Sanders can do.
I still think you got to think of the locker room and throwing Shedeur in there from number 3.
You don't think Shedeur is well received in the locker room?
I'm not sure that teammates think he can win.
According to Bruce, it's officially Shedeur Sanders' time, and the way he said it, you'd swear the kid was descending from the heavens, rocking a gold helmet and a cape woven from highlight reels.
So if you're looking at the way Dillon Gabriel, the way that offense was constructed, you got the same results, because what you want in your defense is for you to make turnovers. They forced 2 turnovers against the Minnesota Vikings, and Dillon Gabriel still couldn't get it done because he's no threat to force the ball down the field. Even the last play of the game, before Kevin O'Connell called the timeout, the Hail Mary interception, he couldn't even get it to the end zone. That thing fell 5 yards short of the end zone, and it got picked off by Isaiah Rodgers, but it didn't count because Kevin O'Connell called the timeout.
Let's be honest, Cleveland's quarterback situation has been cursed since 1999. The team could probably find a way to ruin Tom Brady in his prime. It's like a haunted rotation. Every time a new QB walks in, their talent mysteriously disappears, their confidence evaporates, and suddenly they're throwing passes like they're aiming for the mascot. Dillon Gabriel is simply the latest soul trapped in the Browns' Bermuda Triangle of mediocrity. He wants chaos. He wants Shedeur Sanders, the Colorado kid with enough swagger to power downtown Cleveland. According to Bruce, Shedeur isn't just a quarterback, he's an alarm clock for a franchise that's been asleep for decades. The Browns have been hitting snooze since the Clinton administration, and Drennan's ready for the wake-up call. Picture it, Bruce in his studio, voice cracking like an old vinyl, pounding his desk as if summoning the football gods, veins glowing Browns orange. Every syllable lands like a punch. Dillon Gabriel's name gets tossed around like a traffic cone on I-90, and Bruce isn't breathing, he's preaching.
The narrative that's now leaking out of Cleveland, it's a question. And the question is, does Shedeur want to play? Is he going out of his way to not be available to play? Now, he did practice on Wednesday. He still has some ailing back issue. To be fair, I'm a doctor. I saw him go to Colorado during the bye week and surprise Dion at Colorado and he looked fantastic. The Browns now want people to think that Shedeur is inventing a back.
Because let's face it, Dillon Gabriel looks like he's out there trying to solve a Rubik's Cube instead of reading defenses. He drops back, squints downfield, hesitates, and boom, sack. Browns fans at home don't even scream anymore, they just stare blankly, like people who've accepted that happiness isn't part of their football vocabulary. The kid hasn't even thrown a pass for the Browns yet, but according to Drennan, he's already halfway to Canton. Bruce's rant has layers. First, he goes after the coaching staff for babying Gabriel, claiming they treat him like a fragile science experiment, handle with care, avoid pressure, let him develop. Meanwhile, Cleveland's losing to teams that couldn't beat a strong high school squad. Then Bruce shifts gears straight into shatter mode. It's like someone flipped a switch in his brain. Suddenly, Sanders is part quarterback, part motivational speaker, part lightning storm. You'd think he'd just performed miracles in Boulder. Bruce swears Shedeur has the arm, the poise, the vision, and the audacity to make Cleveland believe again. That's cute, because at this point, Cleveland fans would believe in a golden retriever if it could throw for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Dillon Gabriel is not an NFL quarterback. It's time for Shedeur to be in the lineup. Otherwise, you're going to see Miles slamming that helmet even
Has
more.
to play sometime during the year. I'm not sure if it's right now, but you got to see him 3 or 4 games.
Within the next 3 weeks or so, we should see Shedeur Sanders.
But Bruce? He's dead serious. He's pacing, he's sweating, and he's convinced this is it, the turning point Cleveland's been waiting for. He's out here treating Shedeur Sanders like Neo in the Matrix, with Dillon Gabriel as the glitch and Shedeur as the reset button. And honestly, you can't totally blame him. The Browns' offense has looked like a group project where nobody showed up. The offensive line? They're basically auditioning for the role of revolving door in a hardware commercial. Every time Gabriel drops back, the pocket collapses faster than a folding chair at a tailgate. Bruce sees all of this and finally says what everyone else is too tired to: why not give Shedeur a shot? What's the worst that could happen? They lose differently. According to him, Shedeur's got that primetime DNA, swagger, composure, and the rare ability to make chaos look like choreography. The kid talks like he was built for the spotlight. Gabriel, meanwhile, sounds like he's still convincing himself he belongs there. And that, Bruce insists, is the real difference: confidence. Forget stats, forget experience, he's betting it all on vibes.
Tony Grossi has come to his senses about Dillon Gabriel. After his observation of Dillon Gabriel in these 4 games that Dillon Gabriel has been on an NFL field, he's finally came to the conclusion that Dillon Gabriel is not an NFL quarterback. Now, in the past, Tony Grossi was vouching for Dillon Gabriel, talking about he was much better than Shedeur Sanders. That's why Cleveland has him as the starting quarterback ever since Joe Flacco has been traded.
Bruce even starts dropping phrases like it factor into command presence, and you can almost hear the producers off camera slowly losing hope. Every time he says Shedeur, the ratings spike. Every time he says Gabriel, the studio lights flicker in embarrassment. He's practically rewriting the Browns playbook live on air. His master plan? Bench Gabriel, hand the keys to Shedeur, and let the fireworks begin. According to Bruce, this would shock the system, because nothing screams stable football strategy like throwing a rookie into the NFL equivalent of a blender. But that's Cleveland. Stability is a myth, others? They shake their heads and mutter, "Here we go again." But nobody turns it off. When Bruce goes off, it's not just sports commentary, it's performance art. He dissects Gabriel's stats like they're bad poetry, completion percentages that sound like gas prices, yardage totals that could be phone numbers. He's basically reciting Cleveland's pain in metric form. Then, without warning, he pivots to Shedeur highlights, college clips, flashy throws, sideline celebrations. Every spin move and deep bomb becomes gospel proof that the prophecy is real.
If he doesn't get promoted from QB3 to QB2, what happens?
What I think happens is that you put even more pressure on Dillon Gabriel in his second start than he had in his NFL debut.
If he's not promoted.
If Shedeur Sanders is not promoted to QB2.
Why is that?
Because then all of a sudden you start to ask all of these questions as to why. There are only 2 quarterbacks on the active roster right now.
He even pulls the classic Drennan move, the dramatic pause. You know, the one leaning forward, eyes locked on the camera, dropping a line so heavy you can practically hear the soundboard short circuit. Something like, "This city deserves better." Translation, Dillon Gabriel, pack your playbook. And yet, beneath all the rage and sarcasm, Bruce has a point. Cleveland does deserve better. Fans have endured decades of mediocrity, heartbreak, and blown leads. They've earned the right to demand more than checkdowns and 3-and-outs. Gabriel? He's the ghost of quarterbacks past, forgettable, replaceable, and already halfway out of the conversation. The beauty of Bruce's rant is that it might actually spark something. Cleveland fans are emotional creatures. Give them a flicker, and they'll turn it into a bonfire. By the next morning, the city is buzzing, sports radio callers pleading for Shedeur, meme pages dubbing him Sanders the Savior, and every social feed alive with speculation. For once, the Browns quarterback saga feels less like despair and more like the start of a story worth watching.
It feels like if you're the Browns right now, you need to get a look at everything you possibly can, because you're going to be going into a draft where you might have to make another quarterback decision. And I wouldn't want to go into that draft saying, well, I never even got a look at Shedeur. Well, then why'd you even draft him, right? And that's a very, very frustrating conversation for me as somebody that evaluates all these players every year, right? Try to get to well over 300, and I feel like especially getting to talk to, about 45 of them one-on-one at the Combine each year, I generally have a good idea of what guys can and can't do, what the development plan should be.
Meanwhile, Gabriel is scrolling through Twitter like it's a minefield. Every post is a fresh reminder that Cleveland's patience is shorter than its playoff runs. The coaching staff pretends not to hear it, but come on, they hear it. Everyone hears it. You can't walk through Cleveland without someone yelling, "Start Shedeur," out of a passing car. By midweek, the tension is palpable. Reporters are asking loaded questions. Gabriel delivers tight-lipped answers that read like a hostage statement. The locker room is split, half the guys keeping it professional, the other half quietly wondering what would happen if Sanders got the nod. Game day arrives. The fans are restless. Gabriel jogs onto the field to polite claps that feel more like, "We're being nice." Every incomplete pass draws a chorus of sighs, every stalled drive earns a sarcastic, "Maybe next time." Somewhere in the stands, a fan waves a sign that reads, "Let Shedeur cook." Gabriel finishes the first half with numbers that would make a Pop Warner coach cry. The Browns are trailing, the defense is gassed, and the camera cuts to Shedeur on the sideline, calm, confident, chewing gum like he already knows the script. The tension is real, and the shift Bruce predicted? It's hanging over Cleveland like an electric storm ready to break.
You have to squeeze more out of a 3rd and a 5th round pick, though. You can't have it be the competition was Dillon versus Shedeur, and then next year we're just going to act like both of these quarterbacks don't exist.
Well, no, they'll still be here because I think that's crucial. If they did,
you have to get something out of them.
What do you mean?
Even from a backup quarterback standpoint.
Well, isn't that I think the plan with Dillon?
I'm agreeing with you is the point.
Because I think Shedeur's the one you're not going to get something out of. I think he's the guy that if he's not the starter next year, could just be gone.
If that's what it ends up being, that's what it ends up being. But the point is that you have to find the value in there somewhere between the 3rd and the 5th round pick. You can't just say we took these guys and
back in his studio, Bruce Drennan paces like a man vindicated by destiny, yelling at the TV, "You hear that?" They know. The coach hesitates, but eventually the call is made, Gabriel's benched. Shedeur grabs his helmet, steps onto the field, and suddenly Cleveland believes again, even if it's temporary, even if it's just adrenaline and wishful thinking. That's Cleveland, chaos, heartbreak, brief hope, repeat. Every now and then, a voice like Bruce's cuts through the noise, not because he's always right, but because he feels right. He gives fans a target for frustration, a rallying cry for faith, and a reason to keep watching a franchise allergic to consistency. Maybe he's onto something. Whether Shedeur becomes a hero or just another name in the Browns' quarterback graveyard, one thing is clear, Cleveland is ready for change. And if that change comes wrapped in sunglasses, swagger, and a cannon arm, Bruce Drennan will be there, mic in hand, screaming, and loving every second of it.
It may be Shedeur is better than Dillon Gabriel. We'll find out at some point.
Maybe.
I'm guessing.
Not maybe, Dustin. Little League, high school.
Say whatever you want.
Early college, middle college, late college. Right here, October 27th of 2025. Shedeur Sanders is better than Dillon Gabriel.
I'm taking Shedeur at number 2. I'm going to do the obvious right thing there. I'm going to take Shedeur, and I'm going to roll with it and see how it goes. But then I'm trading back into the end of the first round with my second round pick.
So yeah, maybe it's time. Maybe Dillon Gabriel's learning curve has flattened into a line, and maybe Shedeur's moment is finally here. Or maybe Cleveland's just doing what it always does, building a statue before the first win. Either way, Bruce Drennan got exactly what he wanted, the city's attention. And in Cleveland football, that's half the battle. When the Browns' offense looks like a bad punchline, sometimes all it takes is one loud guy with a microphone to convince everyone that Hope wears number 2. Because logic doesn't matter in Cleveland, perception is the only stat that counts. If Shedeur wins, Bruce becomes a prophet. If he loses, Bruce becomes a martyr. Either way, he's getting his victory lap. That's the beauty of Cleveland football. It's never just about the game. It's about drama, delusion, and the endless optimism that somehow survives every Sunday disaster. Whether Shedeur Sanders rewrites history or simply adds another chapter to the Browns' quarterback encyclopedia of heartbreak, Bruce Drennan's rant will live on, not as analysis, but as pure entertainment. Only in Cleveland can a meltdown sound like motivation and a benching feel like a rebirth.